Maria.
But it must be that with mental telepathy, because when you retired from Univision, you said
Los verdaderos periodistas,
true journalists never retire. And I have always saying this, it's that. So I just want to know, like, what come about? Was it one of your multiple conversations with Bao? Actually do something together. Let's do that.
Yeah, you just can't retire. And I knew that after I left the TV network that I needed to do something else. Not only that, Maria, but I think that in just a few years, people are going to be asking us, what did you do during those years? I needed an answer. And the answer is independent journalism. That's what I've done. That's what I will continue doing that. So the question was where to do it.
I was going to talk about Bronco
Obama. I wasn't going to go back to another network because, I mean, you've seen the numbers. More people now get their news through social media and the internet and streaming services than on legacy media.
We should be overthrowing that YouTube soon too and making a regular YouTube again.
That Paola and I could do a podcast together, and that's how it started.
Ipao, were you like, absolutely, Dad? What was your immediate reaction?
I was excited. I mean, I think even before this year, I think we've always played with the idea of doing something together, and I think it naturally took us to this place, and I think it just speaks to where the media landscape is. And I think the challenge for me is what I think could be interesting and exciting is getting that audience that grew up watching my dad, right? Like, is there a way to converge all those people at this point, las tías, las abuelas, that grew up watching you, Dad? Can we bring them with, I think, the younger generation of Latinos? And I think it's an open question mark, right? Can you do that in English only? Do you need to do it in Spanglish? And so I think that to me is like an interesting challenge to work with.
Wow, you said that working with your dad in this situation was a way to take back time. Now, that really struck me because, as you know, you're the daughter of an anchor. I have kids who are son and daughter of an anchor journalist. And we talk now that they're older about the time that was lost because of breaking news, because of the job, because of our commitment. I'm wondering, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, I think it's part of that, right? I think for anyone who has parents that are journalists, you grow up understanding that the priority oftentimes isn't you, right? It is the news, it is breaking news. And I have learned later in life myself, as a fellow journalist now, that to love this job is to kind of recognize that, right? But I think on top of that, my dad and I grew up in two different continents. And so from the age of 2 until I was 16 years old, I basically ping-ponged between Madrid, which is where I lived with my mom, and Miami, which is where my dad was.
So the Broncos won destroyed the Cowboys. I wanted to gloat for the Bronco comical, but this is interesting stuff on the radio, so we're just gonna go with that for now.
Like, it's a privilege. It's amazing.
When I was younger, I always read Marcel Proust and En Busca del Tiempo Perdido, and in a way, that's exactly what we're trying to do.
There's Denver down there.
Paula showed me a note that made me to cry when she was traveling by herself from Miami to Madrid and from Madrid to Miami. She was showing the fellow passengers that she was my daughter, and that made me incredibly proud. And now it's what I find so is very cheesy, but really interesting is that now I can say, well, I'm the father of Paola Ramos, who serves CBC and so on. So the roles have changed. And I was never paid to cry on the air or to be funny on there. That was not my role. And now that I have a podcast, that I have a show in Spanish on digital media, I can do whatever I want. But politically, it's necessary now to be completely open, because I think we have to denounce what's happening with immigrants and now, how they're being separated from their families, the inhumane way in which they are being treated, and maybe this kind of freedom that we have now, it would have been almost impossible to do before.
Most evil
So,
of any
I'm wondering
people ever in history.
how you feel
That's what we got,
about
the Trump
doing
boutonnieres.
journalism
They're
at
worse than
this
their
precise
idols.
moment. Jorge, you just said there's nothing to hold back. You feel
that Dairy
a
Queen gets
kind of
super popular
to
at night.
say what you have to say, and I
Line
kind
out
of
to the
feel like,
street.
you know what, this administration has created such havoc that all the rules have been broken, right?
We have total
Sometimes
fascists.
if we are neutral, I think we might be missing the story.
Exactly.
And
You're missing the story if you're not calling out fascism.
You have to take a
You
stand
can't compromise with
when it comes
fascists.
to racism, discrimination, corruption,
Thank
or
you.
public lies, the violation of human rights, dictatorship, the destruction of the environment.
Trump's
You have
all
to
of
take a
that.
stand. Because if you don't take a stand and if you don't challenge authority, if you don't question
You don't
those who are
challenge
in power, I don't think
authoritarians.
you're doing your job as a journalist.
Thank you.
And I think that's the big difference nowadays. Just to report both sides is not enough. What we are
Both sides,
seeing
when one
every
side
single
is
day with
against
the
your
race,
existence.
families being separated. I mean, I completely
Both
crushed by
sides,
the-
when one side
by
is
the
against
children.
humanity, you only report against the fascists. You can never both sides with the fascists.
The kind of trauma that is creating in the Latino community and the immigrant community is huge. So I think
And in our communities
neutrality
too.
doesn't work
Everybody's
nowadays,
communities.
especially when it comes to the way our
You gotta
immigrants,
stand up
people
against the
like me, are
fascists
being
no matter who you are.
About what's it
If
like
it's not
to hear
affecting your
dad
community
say,
yet, it
as a
certainly
journalist in the
will.
United States of America,
And it
I
already
cannot
is, but it will
remain
more
neutral
directly.
anymore.
I mean, I think it speaks to the time we're in, but I think
There's no such
particularly
thing as
with my
neutral with
dad,
fascists
and
as
I
being a
remember
fascist.
vividly recognizing where this country was headed the moment where my dad got kicked out of that press conference with Donald Trump.
Excuse me, sit down. You weren't called. Sit down.
And I remember vividly, because of his facial expression,
Go back to Univision.
I saw the fear that you had. No, it wasn't the fear because of your life, Dad, but it was kind of the fear of recognizing that this country could and was changing in an instant, right? Because of someone called Donald Trump that was kicking you out. And so I think
And all the Nazis
the
and
time
fascists
that we're
before him,
in
the Republicans.
forces us to be more than
He
just
was doing all his
friends, right?
kidnapping
Because now
before
we're
he became
suddenly
president.
fighting for a democracy. And
He
no
and
one
Epstein
asks
were
us to
doing
be
a lot of
there. Nobody
kidnappings
has to
before
do
he
this.
became
Because
president.
now we're suddenly fighting about the First Amendment and we're
And
fighting
doing a lot of his
about
race.
due
He was doing a
process.
lot of his
And so
racism well before he became
I
president.
too believe that it's
lot of
very
his Klan stuff.
very dangerous to be silent and neutral.
There's no neutral. Neutral is fascist. Centrists are fascists.
USA.
When what there's a
is today's
centrist between is a
most
fascist,
important story for
centrists
Jorge
are
Ramos
fascists.
and his daughter Paula.
This
Anybody
is
who doesn't
defining
support
the
Mom
American
Donnie
people,
is a
right?
fascist.
This is the turning point.
This is the
Stay
turning
with us,
point.
no te vayas.
Thanks, Marine Host. Anyway, I was going to do Bronco Obama Cult because the Broncos destroyed the Cowboys and they will continue to destroy all comers all year. They will destroy all their opponents the rest of the year. And probably we're going to take it to the Super Bowl. I'm going to go ahead and say that for the Bronco Obama Cult. Bronco Obama Cult magic today was based upon the fact that Trump destroyed the East Wing of the White House. The companies that helped fund his terrorist attack on the White House to complete Osama bin Laden's plan from 25 years ago to destroy the White House. The companies that donated to that funded Trump's terrorist attack, they should be seized. The executives of those companies should be arrested. Trump completed, or is in the process of completing Osama bin Laden's attack on the White House. And for that terrorist attack, we should stop him. Because he's already destroyed the East Wing, I wanted to rally all the spirits of the presidents against Trump. Just like if a Bronco was to overthrow the current rider, the Cowboy, and the Broncos did overthrow the Cowboys today in spectacular fashion, and we need to make it even more spectacular how we destroy Trump and the Trump-Putineers, Trump, Putin, Netanyahu, and the Trump-Putineers in even more spectacular fashion when we remove on the White House and seize those companies, including Google, which runs YouTube. See you guys later.